Another day, another MrBeast former employee speaking out. You heard that right, Dogpack 404 released the second part of a 3-part series focusing on bringing a lot of ugly stuff talking about MrBeast's company to the spotlight. This time he invited one of Jimmy's previous writers, Jake Whittle, and in the video they talked about a lot of shady things taking place behind the scenes. All completely alleged, by the way. Jake said that he watched the channel going from something genuine to stage like Amazon. The most important part of the interview was him talking about the culture of what it's like in the MrBeast company, and eventually commented on how one of the crew members was a registered sex offender. But before I delve deeper into it, make sure to subscribe for more discussions like this.
Chris Tyson, did you notice any or hear about any sexual misconduct at the company?
I heard, people have been let go for sexually assaulting some very young people. The idea that Jimmy didn't know, or that Jimmy was covering stuff up. He didn't want stuff to come out. He's very careful about his image. The tangible proof that he knew but covered it up. How do you prove that, Well, there was a known sex offender, registered sex offender, convicted sex offender on the registry and everything, who worked there. I can't confirm or deny. From what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people. And they knew that.
To give a bit of context, Jake worked for MrBeast from 2019 to 2020 and made a brief comeback in 2021. Now, there's a screenshot making rounds on X showing who the person is and what he committed. You can even look it up yourself online, but I'll blur his name and picture and only read you the description of the offense, which says, quote, R-word 4th degree, sexual intercourse, victim less than 18. And additional data shows the victim's age being 1 to 11 years of age. Apart from the act being disgusting, the whole situation raises a lot of questions. You see, this is the second MrBeast crew member publicly speaking out of such allegations, and what makes it worse is the fact that the channel's main audience is underage people. Anyone who makes an appearance there is ensured to gain a massive following, so why let a registered SA offender work for you and even appear in one of your videos? When we combine this with Chris Tyson's case, it paints a terrible picture on how this company is run. Speaking of the devil, Tyson previously posted on X saying, quote, never asked Jake how he protected his kid or his family from his bro-in-law. Jake the Viking is obviously being referenced here, and I'll explain how he relates to it in this situation after the clip.
Worked there. But he was like the manager when it all started. And that he knew, and because he'll be in videos, he'll be in thumbnails, he'll be around. And whenever he is, he's wearing a mask. Why would you wear a mask? Why would you conceal your face? It's like, what are you concealing? That you are a registered sex offender? And that your face could be looked up on a thing? Rumors back and forth. So I don't know why they let him go, but he did leave at one point. Even if that guy didn't do anything, they still knew about it and he was still around. And what if he's one of the people in the Discord servers? What if he's not? I don't know. But when I was there, they called him Delaware. It's like, why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know. Apparently they called him Delaware because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware. That's his nickname?
The man in question indeed made an appearance in a MrBeast video called, quote, I spent 24 hours straight in an insane asylum. Jimmy even changed his nickname and called him Zorro in that same video. Delaware is Jake the Viking's brother-in-law, and what's weird is that Jake was all over X calling out Jimmy for knowing about Chris Tyson's case, as he posted multiple times about it, but after his brother-in-law was exposed, people started calling him out on it, and eventually he came out with a lengthy post saying, quote, yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. He has a RSO, which he was 21. A 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time, but he still had to register, adding, quote, he was hired before I was and was actually the reason I got hired at MrBeast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew, and I understand why anyone would be upset and frustrated over these allegations, and I do not blame them. Hurting kids in any way is completely unacceptable, but in the case of Delaware, I firmly believe that he did nothing wrong and look forward to the day that these charges are dropped. It seems to me that Jake is more concerned about making everyone know that Jimmy knew more than about the fact that he sat on such a vital detail and attacked the guy when Tyson's case came out. This is not me defending MrBeast whatsoever, just pointing out to the fact that it makes Jake a hypocrite. Whittle gives more information on what Jimmy is like behind closed doors in the next clip.
Loves Jimmy, and behind closed doors, he is not super great, and that image is cultivated purposefully and intentionally, and it's branding, it's marketing, it's YouTube.
He's not the only one saying such things. Jimmy's ex-girlfriend tagged YouTube on her Instagram story saying, quote, "You need to reevaluate who you're putting on the trending page," following it with, "I've spent years being quiet, never acknowledging that time in my life, just quietly cheering on those who I saw mistreated," adding, quote, "I do not aim to take anyone down, just explicitly tell you there are scary people out there. People will hurt you, use you, spit you out, and then tell you it's your fault." She's clearly referencing Jimmy, but not naming him. She wasn't so subtle on X, however, where she posted, quote, "3 years away from that weirdo, my skin is clear, my relationship and friendships are flourishing, I'm frolicking in a field." Yikes, that's gotta sting. Apart from that, people were expressing their anger at MrBeast by disliking his latest video on YouTube in mass, with a garner of 2 million dislikes so far, and he clearly noticed since he tried to calm people down through an internal email, which was supposedly leaked, and he notes that the law firm which was hired to do a full investigation on Tyson's case is now tasked to conduct a full assessment of the internal culture and to investigate allegations of inappropriate behavior by people in our company. He also announces the hiring of a new Chief Human Resource Officer, a CFO, and a General Counsel, in addition to establishing new programs like mandatory training, listening sessions, and anonymous reporting, quote, "to ensure everyone feels safe coming forward with concerns." I think all of this is a failed whitewashing attempt because, as stated by multiple people already, it is implied that Jimmy knew a lot of what was happening in the background. Obviously, I wasn't present there, so everything stated here is an allegation, and I'm simply reinstating what they had said. Dogpack404 had one more thing to say about Jimmy. Watch it in the next clip.
Also, I know MrBeast's secret CEO has been practically like harassing my people on, hey, what's in part 2? What does he know? So I will just tell you, James, what will be in part 3, so you don't have to harass my people. It will be about serious allegations of sexual misconduct in the company and your direct involvement in covering up those crimes. And I'll make sure to give you full credit and plaster your face all over the screen when we talk about that.
I wonder what more there could be, since a lot of ugly stuff has been brought forward already, but it's good that his video is generating a lot of views because people need to be aware about these things, especially since his content is mainly targeted towards children. What are your thoughts on this, though? Do you think these allegations will lead to MrBeast's downfall? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below.